It's a gastronomic journey into the unknown. Food that defies description and really should defy consumption. What we find on the menu at the Arkansas State Fair is a celebration of everything science and common sense tell us we shouldn't eat.
Here you go, sir.
Thank you very much.
But here, they can't get enough of it.
What's this called?
Corn dog. Corn dog.
Yeah, I'll have a little bit.
Let's have them all. There you go.
You know, we're famous in the South for frying everything. We fry our grandmothers. We fry everything.
In the deep south, they do deep fry everything, even their dessert. Here, boiling away in its greasy glory, a Snickers bar.
How many of these would you eat in a year?
I had to give up because they follow me wherever I go.
Get you right here.
The sobering thought is, food like this is no longer just an annual novelty, but part of the staple diet. As a result, Americans are now eating themselves to death. Extreme as it might look, these scenes are a snapshot of Middle America. More than half of all Americans are overweight, and a third of them, doctors warn, are dangerously so. And it's a problem that begins in childhood.
It's called right now the perfect storm, meaning that we have these overweight kids, and they're not just getting heavy, more and more kids are getting heavy, but also the heavy ones are getting even heavier.
Jean-Paul is 16 years old. He weighs 480 pounds, about 220 kilograms. He's morbidly obese, and right now his life hangs in the balance.
Since your last visit, tell me what you've been doing with your goals.
Well, just hanging and exercising like I'm supposed to.
And according to his doctor, Karen Young, Jean-Paul is now showing all the signs of adult-onset diabetes.
This dark ring here, and I think on the other side, let me see, it looked like it was even more prominent. Yeah, you've even got it in the front some here. But this is telling me that you have a high risk for diabetes.
I look at him and I think, this couldn't happen to me, but somehow it does happen to people.
It does happen to people, and in fact, he was normal size when he was younger, so it can happen to anybody. And in this day and age, globally, not just the United States, but everywhere in the world, we're having to deal with this.
Biologically, the obesity epidemic is the price of human success. To survive the rigours of times past, we were genetically designed to become efficient fat storers. But in this modern life, the lean winter never comes. Today, we live in the land of plenty, and it's killing us.
The frightening thing is that this current generation of young kids is the first generation in American history who are expected to live a shorter lifespan than their parents or their grandparents. First time in American history because of obesity.
That was me just over a year and 105 pounds ago. Now, if I can lose weight, anyone can.
Mike Huckabee is the governor of Arkansas, and when it comes to weight loss, this born-again political lightweight knows what he's talking about.
Of course, in Australia, we all know the movie Super Size Me, but you're Downsize Me.
Maybe we should make a sequel and call it Downsize Me, but that's really what I've been through.
Oh, Honey, I Shrunk the Governor.
Hey, I like that one. That's a good one.
I mean, you have lost more than 100 pounds.
Well, there are a
He's
lot
leading by example, up before dawn and beginning the day with a power walk. And this former Baptist preacher was pledged to lead his people out of the deep-fried wilderness.
Well, come on in.
Oh,
Please.
a beautiful building.
You're passionate about this, aren't you?
I have to be. I have to be because I've seen in my own life the mistakes I made. I'm the poster child for what to do wrong. You know, I'm not out there telling people, here's what you ought to do. I'm the guiltiest person out there. Nobody lived an unhealthier lifestyle than me.
I, Mike Huckabee.
I, Mike Huckabee.
Do solemnly swear.
In Arkansas, being fat was never a political liability. Governor Huckabee was seen as a good old boy, solid and reliable. But what might have been all right for the body politic wasn't so good for the body Huckabee.
So how did the whole thing evolve for you?
Well, I had an epiphany of sorts when I was sitting in my doctor's office and he told me I was a type 2 diabetic. I had 2 parents who were diabetic, grandparents who were diabetic. I should have known better, and I did know better, but I didn't do anything about it.
Now, type 2 diabetes is the late onset,
Exactly.
the one that characteristically comes with obesity.
Characteristically with obesity, and characteristically at a much older age than it hit me at age 47, and I thought, this is crazy. And when the doctor described for me what the future was, I thought, this is something I need to fix.
The future being?
Future being that I was in the last decade of my life without some major lifestyle changes.
Was that serious?
Oh, yeah. I was digging my grave with a knife and fork.
Governor Huckabee embarked on a radical plan to save first himself and then the people of Arkansas and, more particularly, its children.
Pull your feet back a little bit, baby. There you go.
In the most dramatic step, his state became the first in America, indeed the first in the Western world, to pass laws demanding the annual weighing and measuring of every child. That's more than 400,000 kids.
Now, this was controversial because some people thought we were going to expose children to ridicule.
52.
Let me assure you, I would never do that. I know how much it hurts to be ridiculed
You were there.
for being overweight. Nobody has to tell me how much that hurts. So I would never do that to a child. But I'll tell you what I would do for a child, is to do everything in our power to help a child to have the tools to overcome a lifestyle that ultimately means, without some changes, this kid is going to be diagnosed diabetic in his teens. He's going to have laser shot in his eyes when he's 20. He's going to have a heart attack by the time he's 30. He's going to be on full-scale dialysis by the time he's 40. He'll be dead before he's 50. That's not a pleasant outlook.
The results of the first annual weigh-in were shocking. Every child in Arkansas was subjected to a procedure known as a body mass index, the BMI, an equation of height and weight. It found that 40% of children were either obese or at risk.
I have lots of families who don't think the BMI Health Initiative is a good thing, that we're intruding on their lives. But we're already checking kids for scoliosis, and we're doing hearing and vision screenings. This is just another screening because it is very, very true that overweight children don't learn as well.
Faced with such a serious problem, action was swift. Parents were forced to confront the news that their kids were fat.
Go on up there and get your milk.
At schools, the state compelled all canteens to change their menus.
Y'all ready to start?
And children were forced to exercise, with physical education being reintroduced in every school.
7, 8, 9.
Which brings us back to Jean-Paul, the 16-year-old who's morbidly obese. Tragically, he's also an orphan. Both his parents died from obesity-related diseases, and until the state stepped in, he was facing a similar fate.
I don't want the government telling families what to do. Now, in some cases, we may have to do that, because otherwise the child will die.
Are you telling me that the situation is serious enough a little bit of totalitarianism is worthwhile?
No, because here's the thing. What our plan is to identify the overweight kids and let the families know. We've lost the ability to identify overweight by looking at people. We look at people and we don't think they're overweight when they actually are anymore. We look at normal-sized kids and we think they're too skinny.
Experts say there is one basic cause of this obesity epidemic. We're eating more and doing less, so that for too many young people, life has become a spectator sport. Randy Sandifer is the coach of the North Little Rock football team. His sporting pride received a body blow when he received his son Jake's BMI score in the mail.
You can look at Jake, and you wouldn't say he's almost at risk. You wouldn't say that, but his body weight says that. And I think if we catch it at this stage right here, we can do something about it. So it's really hit home to us because, when it came in the mail, that's one of our children.
Jake has since modified his diet and lost a few pounds. Brandy himself has lost more than 60 pounds.
I walk around my neighborhood.
Meanwhile, the same program of state intervention may be saving the life of Jean-Paul.
8 months. 8 months, you've lost 92 pounds, and that is really, really good. Okay? So, and the other thing is you're doing it in the way that we're asking you to, which means you're doing it in a healthy way. So I'm just as pleased as I can be.
Do you think you can change a whole mindset of a community, a state, a country?
Sure we can. We can't do it by this time next year, but over a period of time, and I don't have any illusions to think that, I personally am going to make this happen across the whole country in my term as governor, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And the truth is we have to move to a culture of health.
Even more than Australians, Americans hate government that meddles where it's not invited. Going to hell in their own way may be a constitutional right, but in Arkansas, it's also an overindulgence that demanded government action.
This is a crisis, and I'm not trying to make this up and just create a crisis. It is a crisis when you see preteens being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, knowing that these kids are not going to live out their lifespan, and it's not just they're going to die by the time they're 50. The cost of keeping them alive to 50 will eclipse the cost of a healthy person living to 100.